2. We had to start over because we forgot to turn the microphone on. Stupid. Okay, we're both... It's been over a week since we've been in here. I apologize about that. I have not been well. I've been a bit down and a lot fibro. So the fibro, I think, and that tends to go hand in hand. But never mind that. Here I am. And I have been asked by the kids, and I don't know how long it's going to last because you know how kids are. They want something one day and then they want something else the next. But I've been asked by Hunter and Sammy to go take a curve in the cooking towards my more healthier dishes, which I'm very ripe with, because after I had the gastric bypass, I had to relearn how to eat. And I already loved Thai cooking and Chinese and stuff like that. I just learned a hell of a lot more about it afterward. But that's another long story. Anyways, we're going to be taking you, and I'm still going to show you the meatloaf. Don't worry. Okay, it's Cassandra, I think, that asks, and a few others. I will be showing you how to make homemade meatloaf. I'm probably going to do that this weekend because it is a labor of love for me anymore. You know, it's kind of time consuming. If you have anything that you would like to see me make, like cornbread or potato salad or mac salad or au gratin potatoes or anything specific like that to serve with it, let me know in the comment section. And also like and subscribe. I know everybody says that, but I'm glad you're here, whoever you are. Now today I'm going to be making a couscous based salad. Couscous is amazingly a very tiny pasta. It looks like a grain, and in the mouth it tastes and feels like one. It makes a lovely base for a salad. It doesn't have much flavor itself, but like rice or noodles or potatoes, it's a little sponge and it soaks up, oh yes, and tofu. It soaks up all the flavors of the things that you're cooking or putting in it. Now this is the Co-op's own small couscous, 500 grams. Yeah, I'm going to cook it all. I don't believe in little tiny kitty-sized portions of food here. And this is all we're going to have. I don't have any other dishes on the side. If you were to cook this and you have leftovers, don't worry about it. Stick them in your fridge, take them to work, send the kids to school with them, put them in a bento box and have a picnic, whatever. This stuff's good. It stays good for a couple of days after it's made in the fridge. It's great cold. It's portable. And it's very versatile. I like making it into salads instead of hot dishes. I like doing this with it instead. Giving it bright and sunny, zesty flavors instead of, you know, putting heavy sauces and things on it. So, we've got this 500 grams. There is a bigger kind that you can work with that would be fun too. I couldn't get a hold of it today, the giant couscous, so we'll just have to make do with that. I've got some heirloom or some kind of special vine-ripened tomatoes here. Paul says, he jokes around and he says, aren't all tomatoes ripened on the vine? And, you know, that's a good question because I think nowadays they're taking off the damn vine far too early and put in the market. And then when you get them, they're hard as bricks, taste like crap, and they're sour. I don't like today's tomatoes and I'm very picky. So when I do use tomatoes, they smell lovely, by the way. They've still got their stems and their little hats on. And I can tell they're going to be tasty. Plus, we're going to help them out. Now, because I'm not feeling all that good today, I discovered lately, on days I don't feel good, that one of our bargain shops, Heron, where we shop, they have roast chicken fillets that are already cooked. They've had the skin taken off. There's no bones. Now, I tend to shy away from prepared meats, and I'm very iffy about them. And I first got these for one of the kids, but then discovered they were so tasty and really moist and nice that I could use them on occasion when I'm not feeling well in my dishes. So there's one fillet for each person. So that's like, where's the weight on these things? It works out to less than a pound, 190 grams per 2 fillets. So I would say they're small to medium size fillets, breast fillets. And they've already been cooked, so we're just going to slice them up. One ginormous English cucumber. Isn't it a beauty? I love cucumber. I do peel it because it makes it easier to digest. We're old farts up in here. We don't need any more indigestion and reflux than we've already got. I found half a red tomato in the fridge. Red onion. Red onion. Duh. I'm going to slice that up thin and throw it in there. I tend to do that. Look through the fridge, find things that I can include in a recipe and use them up. I tend to try to use up whatever is in the fridge, rotate it around, make sure I know what's in there, you know, so we don't waste anything. We tend to waste very little in this family now. And since we've begun recycling, we tend to have very little trash. It's great. Now for our sauce components, I'm using, because it's a sauce, I'm using kikkoman, which is my favorite soy sauce for the table and for making dressings and sauces. I'm using my beloved rice wine vinegar, otherwise known as mirin. Mirin is a delightful vinegar. It's mild, it's a bit sweet, and it's just beautiful. It's not very acrid or acidic, and it's kind to your palate. And I really love it in sauces. So please get yourself a bottle of it and put it in the cabinet. And the next time one of your recipes calls for vinegar or you want some vinegar, try it. You'll be really surprised. It's beautiful. I'm going to use a little evu. Always keep extra virgin olive oil in your cabinets because there's just so many uses for it. Dressings, cooking, the list goes on and on. One of my other favorite staples is always in the cabinet, toasted sesame seed oil. You'll be able to find this at most any good sized supermarkets. It's delicious. And I don't normally cook with it. Every once in a while I do, but most of the time I use it as a drizzle over a finished dish or in a sauce. Ginger. I don't know how much, I mean, this is a thumb or a knob of ginger, you know, and sometimes I use it all, but because this is going to be ground up in my mortar and pestle, and Paul is a bit sensitive to raw things, I'm not probably going to use all of this. You be your own judge. I love ginger. If it was just me or the kids, I'd be putting the whole damn thing in there. But make sure you do grind it up if you're going to be having it raw because it's very fibrous and tough. That's why I like to either mince it really small or put it in the mortar and pestle and put it, like grind it to a paste. Just plain old granulated white sugar and a couple of cloves of raw garlic. You can eat garlic raw. It's delicious like that. Give it a try. All right, as far as like toppings are concerned, any one of these, all of these, some of these are great. I've discovered lately that for the topping my Super Bowl sushi bowls and other types of dishes that I make, you know, that are all in one bowl meals, that just plain old hummus, and I will be showing you how to make your own in the future. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I haven't broke out the food processor, but I will be doing that, and I'll show you. It's pretty easy. You'll just need tahini and, you know, olive oil and lemon juice and some salt and some chickpeas. So if you want to check out how to make it, it's pretty easy. Make it yourself. But hummus is delicious, and it's nutritious. And it just goes in so many things. It really surprises you with some of the things it goes in. So we're using this as one of the toppings for my couscous salad. And another thing you see me with a lot, my scallions or green onions. I love these guys, even though it says they're trimmed and washed. Make sure that you still cut off the ends and split the tubes to make sure there's no grit or sand inside. Give them a rinse. And then I'll be slicing them up thinly. Another one of my favorite herbs here, coriander. I'll be, you know, rinsing that in a sieve and letting it dry a bit, and then just snipping it with my kitchen shears. Those fried onions in America, they're called Durkee. Here, there are many different kinds. This brand is Top Taste, but you see them. They can normally be found where the salad dressings are in a store, and they're just little bits of fried onions in a plastic container. Get those, keep them up in your cabinet. Top pasta bakes with them. Put them on the top of soup. Put them on top of a salad. They're freaking delicious. You'll love them, but be careful because you might want to go and eat them. This is some pre-toasted sesame seeds. I love to drizzle them over the top of my salads and Japanese dishes because they're so tasty. And today we procured a big bag of omega seeds. I can see in here there are sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, that looks like flax, hemp, chia maybe in there. These are lovely like they are, and you can eat them like they are and just sprinkle them over your food. But I like to do one little extra step that only takes a few minutes, and that is toasting them for a few minutes. And I'm going to show you how in a dry skillet or wok. If you toast these guys for a few minutes before you use them as a topping, and then you could do a bunch at one time, you know, like a whole cup full. And then you just put them in a little airtight container and put them in the fridge or up in a dark, cool place like in the cabinet, and it'll keep for you for a couple of weeks. They're delicious. They add so much flavor, and if they're full of omegas, they're adding a lot of goodness. Well, those are my ingredients, so let's get cooking. See ya.
Righty then. Let's jump right in. You're going to see me doing some super fast-mo shit here in just a minute. But you see my peeled English cucumber, and now in fucking, I don't know, some kind of Doctor Who time warp shit, I am quartering that cucumber, going down it through the half, then down again to half that, and you see me slipping the seeds away. Just run your knife gently down the top, and then you half those quarters again, and you cut them into bite-sized pieces of chunks. I don't like real big chunks. I like rustic, but not really big, because I like my bite-sized pieces to be kind of, well, small-ish. And I'm going to take and put that whole cucumber in there because, as you know, I'm a bunny and I love my greens. And this cucumber gives it a lovely, refreshing, summery taste. This salad, this couscous salad, to me, I actually prefer couscous, which is not a grain, as you know, but a tiny pasta. But it absorbs every flavor it hits like a sponge. I don't know what Paul said there. It must have been something funny. Here are my vine-ripened tomatoes. I'm not going to do the same with them because I'm not worried about the little bit of juice they've got going in there. And I'm just cutting them into like quarters and then cutting them into smallish bite-sized pieces. Again, going in the same bowl. Why? Because I don't give a damn. Because all this is going to be dumped into one pot. And my goal with you and myself in the kitchen is to make work more fun. Well, it's not really work. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this show and the whole point of everything I do in there. It's creativity, it's therapeutic, and it's relaxing. If you get an idea for a vegetable that you like to eat raw that you think would go good in here, hey, bring it up in the comments. Let me know what you make to put in your couscous salad. Juicy, crunchy, colors are nice, different colors, different textures are the bomb. So, you know, the tomatoes add a bit of acid, but they are sweet as well. They add a lovely color to the salad in contrast to the green coolness of the cucumber. And I didn't want all the vine-ripened tomatoes that I got, so I think I used 4 there. And I love my scallions or green onions, and like I told you before, even though it says on the package, trimmed and washed, still, look in those tubes at the end. Don't throw them away. I don't know who the hell ever came up with the idea of throwing all the green tips from the scallions away, but that's wasteful and stupid because they're delicious. So use it all. just rinse it out and take the little tips off, because even though they've been trimmed, they haven't been trimmed to Bevie standards, and probably not to yours. Now these are just getting cut into thin rounds, and these are addictive to me. And suddenly we seemed to have slowed down. I actually seem to be cutting slower than normal here, or maybe this is me cutting at normal speed. I don't know. It's sort of like when you've been going really fast and you get off of a ride and you feel like you're still on it. Yeah, that shit. Now I'm scooping them up using my blade to help me, and I'm just going to put them in my little bowl. I just collect these little bowls around where I'm working, and the one thing I love about this dish is that when it comes together, you know, it takes a little bit of time to do prep work, and you'll find this about a lot of, well, what we said Asian in the States, but Oriental. The Oriental style of cooking, most of your work, I would say 85 to 90% of your work is going to be put into prep, and the dish itself will come together very quickly and all at once usually. But the prep can be done, if you're like me and you're a gimp and your knees suck, sit at the table, chillax, listen to some, I don't know, System of a Down or whatever you like to listen to. Just don't let it get you pissed off and then you chop your finger off or something. Because, you know, heavy metal music gets your head banging and somebody could get hurt. Now I'm taking this red onion, and I love red onions. I think I just actually shot him the rod for some reason. He was probably giving me a smart-ass comment. That's usually my response. I think my eyes are burning just a tad here from the onions. I can't get used to this shit. I've never seen me move this fast, not even in my younger years. But anyway, I'm just cutting them like half down, you know, through the onion after I've peeled it. And then I take that half and lay it on its side and cut it into like a half moon or a crescent shape. And I'm taking them apart because, yep, that's how I roll. I got OCD. And if an onion is sticking together, that shit really bothers me. I'm saying 4-letter words a lot today. I do apologize. That crap, that poo really bothers me. Poo? Hunter hates it when I say that. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to the chicken, our already roasted chicken, because I wasn't feeling all that swift that day. And as you can see, I'm using my trusty knife to narrowly miss my digits and cutting it into thin slices. Now I've got 4 smallish sized chicken fillets or breast fillets, boneless, skinless, already cooked up for me because I felt like crap that day, and well, they're nice. And you could do yours from fresh, and it's really easy to poach them in a little bit of stock or water if that's what you want to do, and then you just let them cool till they're cool enough for you to handle and they firmed up a bit. Always let meat after you've cooked it firm up a bit by sitting, because it'll facilitate slicing. It makes it much easier to slice any kind of meat, pork, beef, you name it. After you've cooked it, always let it rest and draw back in and firm back up. Pardon that. That was my son asking me something. Yeah, just keep slicing all of the chicken into bite-sized thin pieces and just put it in a bowl like you have everything else. Because it's so easy to make this salad. Now I'm getting my cilantro out, which has been put aside for me. And I'm taking it and putting all the stems up at one end and kind of making them even in length. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm a rabbit. I could eat like a bunch of coriander like Bugs Bunny chews on a carrot. I love herbs and I love them raw. Like the Vietnamese people. I love them. I could eat them like that all the time. But Paul's got a funny stomach and you have to be careful. So I'm making sure that I never throw the stems away. Don't do that. There's a lot of flavor in there. There's nothing wrong with them. Just make sure you start at the stems like I'm doing, and you cut the stems into kind of smallish pieces. And then my coriander is trying to stick to my fingers like a bogey. Ain't gonna waste none of that shit. Get in there. Trying to escape. All right. Let's see what I'm doing next. Because this was made several days ago and then I did a voice. I've been lazy as a mother. Ah, here comes my mortar and pestle. Well, one of them. And this one is one of my favorites. And now phone's going. I am going to prepare my sauce for this dish in the mortar and the pestle. Now, what you're seeing is me. I have already peeled this thumb of ginger, and I've talked to you about a thumb-sized piece of ginger, you know, standard thumb, not Jolly Green Giant thumbs for big fellas, but, you know, a standard small thumb like mine. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting that ginger, I'm cutting the, you know, dry dead end off of it. And I peel it, and I cut any bad parts out or any, you know, like parts I couldn't reach when I was peeling. And then I'm just cutting that into small-ish chunks. The reason I'm doing this is because when I make this sauce, because we are eating this ginger and the garlic, which is going to be going in raw, I want these elements of the sauce to be very fine. Because ginger has a tendency to be very fibrous. So when you're working with ginger, if you're going to be putting it into something to grind it up, and I know a lot of people nowadays whiz everything in a food processor, and I do have a food processor, but I just use good old elbow grease. And I'm cutting the little dry ends of my garlic cloves off. I think I used about maybe about four or five, you know, regular size cloves for this. Not as much as not big fat ones like I usually use. Now the reason I'm putting my salt in here, it adds flavor to the sauce, but it also does something really wonderful. When you're grinding stuff up in your mortar and your pestle, especially if it's something that's, you know, fresh, like ginger and garlic, if you put some salt in there, it really helps grind everything down. And what you're going to want to do is work that shit. Work your biceps. Put some elbow grease in there. I'm putting my hand over so that crap won't... Oh my God. You know what? If I could move my hand that fast, we'd never leave the house. Some cherry soda there in between work. And I'm tired now, so... The man has come. And now he's mortaring and pestling. What the fuck was that? Oh, pardon my French. It looked like a meerkat's head coming out. Now I'm taking over again to make sure, and he's done a good job there, that we get it down to a paste-like consistency. If you've ever bought them in a tube, which you shouldn't do, but if you've ever bought ginger or garlic in a tube, you'll notice that they're very fine, and that's what the kind of consistency you're looking for, like baby food, like paste. You're not going to want any lumps or anything like that in there. I know it looks a bit chunky, but everything in there is very fine, and it's like a paste. And it's basically going to more or less liquidate when I put the wet parts, well, the other parts of the sauce, the other elements of the sauce in, and stir everything around. Now we're using good old castor sugar, just plain old sugar like you make your coffee with. And as you can see, I'm putting in 2 heaping teaspoonfuls of sugar. Peace, man. My favorite kikkoman. For table use and for dressings and sauces, kikkoman is the bomb to me. It's my favorite. And I would put 2 big glugs. Mirin, rice wine vinegar, in an option from the lime that I used to use that kind of tears my guts up nowadays, which is a shame, but that's the way it goes when you get to be an old fart like me. 2 big blubbity blub of mirin. Oh dear. I'm not understanding yet something else he's asking me. All right, and there goes my beloved sesame oil. This adds such a beautiful taste to it. And I used all of it up. I would say that that was also 2 big glugs. And when I say glug, I mean like a spoon runneth over a tablespoon. And I think probably 1 glug of Evu. Extra virgin olive oil. Always have it in your cabinets. It is freaking delicious. By itself, it's not too impressive. In sauces and on meats, it's outstanding. I'm mixing all that up really well with my hands. Now you see me with my omega seeds. There's flax, there's hemp, there's sunflower and sesame, pumpkin seeds, yummity, yum, yum. I'm a seed and nut girl. I love it. And if you want to pimp your seeds and make them taste freaking fantabulous, toast them in a dry skillet for a few minutes till they start. You'll hear them popping a bit like popcorn. You'll hear them snapping. And you'll see them going brown. Just toast them until they go brown and they're fragrant. And then take them out. Now, in this, there's going to be couscous. And you see in there, I've got my bag of couscous, which turned out to be a very large amount of couscous. However, having said that, this was absolutely delicious leftover. And we enjoyed it the next day for lunch. But you could still use the same proportions of sauce and use half the couscous I did. It would be a bit stronger in the sauce area, but would still be absolutely delicious. And I put a knob of butter in with my couscous, and now I've measured out my boiling water, and couscous does not need to be cooked. If anyone tells you it does, tell them they're full of crap. Now I've got my knob of butter in there. I've got my couscous and my boiling water in there. And that's just a big pot. And as you look at that, you can see that I'm stirring. I'm just going to melt the butter. That's why I'm stirring here. But you can see while I'm stirring, the couscous is magically becoming fat. It is a teeny little sponge. And that's what we love about couscous. Rice, noodles, same thing. Tofu, same thing. Beautiful little sponges to absorb flavors from whatever else you marry them with. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken up, but I'm going to cover it, and 5 minutes are going to go by, and we're going to let it sit. If it goes to room temperature, we don't give a crap. Now, I'm getting ready to make the salad, and everything's going to come together really quickly. See how I'm showing you, and you should do this too. You take a fork after you've let it sit and rest for 5 minutes, and all the liquid will be gone. It'll have sucked it all up, and it'll suck up all your dressing too, believe you me. And just fluff it up till you see the grains coming apart, because you don't want big lumps of, couscous in your salad. So kind of just work your fork through, and you're going to work it through more. You're going to toss it about, when you get your ingredients in there until everything is blended. Don't ever try to shortcut or fast move ingredients when you're integrating them into a dish, especially something like this where there's, sauces or dressing components. Take your time and don't just go barreling in and mashing shit about. Fold it, kind of dig underneath and flip the bottom over to the top. Make sure that you're looking at it and that everything is getting married and with a sauce. Every grain of couscous needs to glisten. So that's what you're going to be looking for. And that's all I'm doing, just working the couscous and blowing on it. Because as the steam comes up and comes away and it cools a bit, as you can see, it gets fluffier and poofier. And you can start seeing the individual grains. It's still warm, which is going to help release the flavors of all these ingredients. So there goes my juicy, crunchy, fresh cucumbers, my delicious vine-ripened tomatoes, my enamored, thinly sliced scallions, which I adore, all of my chicken breasts, very thinly sliced, and my little crescent moons of red onion. Wonderful fresh coriander to add texture, flavor, and beautiful scent. This dish is like spring or summertime. And there's my omega full seeds. Just chuck them all in. They're going to add crunch and lots of flavor, and they're going to be really good for you too. So healthy food can taste really freaking delicious if you know what you're doing. And there's my dressing. I've already made it, and I'm slopping it all over myself and the table, as you could see my exasperated expression there. And there it goes. All that goody is going in there now, and that couscous is going to suck that beautiful dressing up like a little sponge, and all those flavors are going to marry. And what you could do if you wanted to, because this is pretty much going to be at room temperature by the time you put all those cool ingredients in it and stirred it completely, integrating everything, making sure, yeah, I'm telling you right there to stir, stir, stir. Don't be fast. Take your time. See how I'm going underneath and I'm bringing it up over the top? Because I want to make sure there's no lumps of couscous lurking down at the bottom of my pan. Couscous, 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 whatever the hell you want to say. It's good stuff. And when it's treated like this, to me, I mean, I've had it hot. I've had it with fish and chicken and other things, and it is delicious. But to me, couscous just seems to come into its own. It seems to be in its element when it is in a dish like this. I don't know why, but it just seems to come into its own. And this is the way I prefer it. Now, when you're ready to serve it, you just get whatever bowl you like to put it in. Give yourself and your family whatever portion you want. If you're living with somebody like Hunter, you'll want a horse bucket. If you're living with somebody like me, a medium bowl will suffice, like this little wooden salad bowl I love so much. And it's a pretty generous portion there. And I'm going to pimp it just a bit because it makes it look pretty and it makes it delicious. Now this, and I'm going to teach you how to do your own, is hummus. I love hummus. And I tend to stick with the unadulterated, unscrewed with plain hummus. Co-op has an excellent brand. Check the ingredients list. Make sure that's what's in there is chickpeas, oil, lemon juice, tahini, that kind of stuff. Not a lot of preservatives and crap. There go my little French fried tiny onions. You could put some extra coriander. There's some what I did earlier, toasted sesame seeds, which are also very delicious on there. And that hummus is going to add delicious creamy flavor, and it's going to add a big boost of health. I hope you like this recipe. I can't wait to dive into it. I want to tell you love and sparkles to you. Mwah. See y'all later. Bye.